Good afternoon, everyone. We are live with Matt Parfitt from Grace Enterprises, and you'll hear a little bit more about that. I've been really excited about this particular conversation because Matt is a serial entrepreneur with one overriding banner that goes across them all, and I'm hoping that he'll expand that as this conversation goes on. Good morning, Matt. Good afternoon, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. It's great to be with you, and yeah, it's good to be connected at last.
Brilliant. So let's just crack on because we want to keep it short and snappy. So Matt, tell us a bit how you got into cleaning or the facilities management arena.
I mean, by accident, to be honest. I mean, it's certainly not for me a sort of a long-held love or passion for cleaning or FM, but actually more how can we employ people who've got major barriers to work. And as you say, we'll talk about the bigger picture in a minute, but for us, cleaning was a great vehicle for doing that in terms of creating lots of jobs that would be relatively easily accessible and where we felt like we could make a difference. So paying the real living wage, for example, in an industry where that's not the norm, paying sick pay, holiday pay, lots of similar motivations with you, I think, and therefore actually coming at it of where could we make the biggest difference, run a business well on good principles and see it work. So it came about that way.
Amazing. I just kind of want to dig into that. You say accidentally, like what were you doing? Did you just kind of fall off a curb and into cleaning?
I say accidentally because my original plan was to start a removal company. And then, so for us, Grace Enterprises is all about life-changing jobs. And I'd managed to get the church I go to say yes to doing that, which would be about life-changing jobs. Well, how are you going to do that then? And my plan A was, as I said, a removal company. But they were like, well, we love what you're doing. We think that God's in it, but we haven't got enough money. I think I asked them for £40,000. Whereas they were like, love it, but we've only got £4,000. So I was like, right, okay. Well, I'm not going to say no, but also not going to start that removal company. So we'll do something else. And therefore started a cleaning business.
So it's interesting. Our first guest on Clean Conscience Convo was a guy called Jamie Wilcox. And he said, cleaning is a really easy business to start, but quite a complex business to run in the end. And so a lot of people, I think, accidentally fall into the cleaning industry. It's pretty much how we started. And I talk about starting with a tenner in my back pocket and lots of ignorance. But yeah, easy to start, but then running it well really is a whole different endeavor altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It was low barriers to entry rather than needing loads of vehicles, loads of capital investment up front. It was like, how could we start something that's pretty small, but that could immediately have an impact in terms of the jobs created? And so from day one, we had like 6 cleaners. And for me, this is on the back of 10 years of doing something similar, but employing people through gardening. So I'd come from that, was looking to change effectively the vehicle. How can we employ people? And I'd just come from the complexities of like landscape gardening. So my therefore step from that to cleaning is probably different to some other people's.
Yeah, that makes sense. I kind of want to dig into that a little bit. So not that, but you've mentioned Grace Enterprises now, like that bag. So tell us a bit more about that. You've got 3 businesses that I know of, and probably more ideas besides in your head. Tell us a bit about Grace Enterprises.
So I mean, and do look on our website, graceenterprises.co.uk, if people want to see more of this or find each of the businesses. But a quick overview would be, the common thread would be, they're all about creating life-changing jobs for people who've faced major barriers to work. So, I mean, people who've been homeless or who've been in prison or struggle with addiction, refugees, survivors of modern slavery, people with severe mental health challenges. Those are the people we employ, and we employ them well, paying everyone the real living wage for every hour they work. We provide coaching and like mentoring, holistic support. If our refugee friends, if they need English lessons, then connecting them up, or money advice from Citizens Advice Bureau. So either doing stuff or connecting it. That's what we do in terms of saying to someone, you are loved, you are valuable, here's an opportunity. And really we're giving someone a job, but it's about hope and purpose. Like that's what we do. And if that sounds a bit too good to be true, where it's like, well, okay, fine, I love the principles of that. What are you actually selling? Well, the answer to that is cleaning Marquise biscuits, but like it's not about cleaning for us. It's not about the Marquise. It's not about the biscuit business, because they all create different jobs for different people.
Yeah.
But the common culture, common ethos, common aims, which is life-changing jobs.
Sounds amazing. So you've got 3 businesses. You've got Radiant Cleaners,
Jubilee Events, our marquee
half
company.
Story. Half the biscuit. Half story.
No, half the story. Yeah, great tasting biscuits, but that's only half the story.
Brilliant. So definitely, I would thoroughly recommend that people get on the website, have a look. Half the story can be sold. The biscuits can be sold nationally. Can they be sold internationally yet?
Yeah, we have. We've done Switzerland and a couple of other countries. So yeah, so it's good fun. And for us, it's exactly the same thing of like, we clean for some big companies in Nottingham, but therefore that's not relevant when I'm in a big meeting in London. And then we started a marquee business in the Midlands. Well, that's interesting. Not many people do cleaning and marquees, but actually still not relevant. But then biscuits, everyone loves biscuits. So they are like taken off.
So brilliant. So Nottingham based, Midland based, and national and international companies. If you're out there listening, you can access any one of these services. There is no excuse.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a deeper question. So, you've talked about the group of people that you've got a real heart and passion for. What would you say are some of the challenges, maybe the top 3 that you're seeing working families facing today?
I mean, a lot of the people we employ don't have a job, first and foremost. So like getting a job, I think, is a massive challenge. So unemployment, whatever the government stats might say. And I know that at the top end, companies are struggling and fighting for talent post Brexit and so on. But for us, we don't see that. We see a lot of people. Every time we advertise for a job, we are swamped in applications. So I think becoming a working family is challenge number 1. And then for the working families, I think that it is really tricky, isn't it, to be paid enough to be able to make ends meet, not to go on a fancy holiday, but actually enough to like survive and make sure your children are eating well and they're in school uniform, and actually that you've got a car and you've got petrol in it. I think that's the challenge for a lot of people. I think therefore employers can exploit that a bit, and there'll always have been, and I guess there always will be, sadly, always exploitative employers who know that there are other people queuing up for that job. But actually having good bosses that are able to, demonstrate grace and compassion, and also to value people. There's plenty of news stories about the top X% or fat cats, and the top salaries are getting larger, aren't they? And the gap seems to be widening. I think those are some of there's nothing specific there that's Nottingham, but I'm sure it's the same down in London and elsewhere. But I mean, those are huge issues, along with uncertainty. So will this job still exist in a week or a month or a year's time? And trying to, like, knowing that they've got mortgages that last a heck of a lot longer than that, and where will we be? I think money just can be such a stress for people, can't it? And like not having enough, or even having too much. We see people mess it up. But yeah, the people we employ don't have enough. Rather, that's the end of the spectrum they're at.
I mean, I know for me, with my background in anti-trafficking campaigning, money was one of the big drivers. Poverty was one of the big drivers to being vulnerable to being trafficked, or even willingly being exploited. Because when you've got pressing hand-to-mouth bills to pay, those choices become quite stark in the end. So I hear what you're saying. So you've talked about the challenges for individuals or families, but I'd love to ask perhaps what the challenges have been for you running multiple businesses in the last 4 or 5 years, in the shadow of COVID, Brexit, cost of living. How's that impacted you guys?
Yeah, and for clarity, we started our cleaning business in 2017. So that obviously was running before COVID. We started our marquee business just afterwards, so late 2021, beginning of 2022. And then the biscuit business, we only started like the second half of 2023. So 2 of them have come along since COVID. Certainly the challenge with the cleaning business, which was what we had running into COVID, was losing sort of 95% of our work overnight, because we are like commercial cleaners, but it wasn't 100%. So actually it was quite a big challenge. On me personally, it would have been easier if it was 100%, because we'd have stopped and we'd have had a rest and we'd have like licked our wounds and worked out how to come back. The fact that we were cleaning on construction sites that were staying open, and a few of our customers, like 5%, were staying open. So that meant we needed to continue to work. And that was really challenging, as it felt like the sands were ever shifting and goalposts were moving. So that was tough. But I mean, thanks to God's grace, we did come out of COVID twice the size with twice as many employees. And so actually, like, God was really good through those times, along with we started a second business just afterwards. So I definitely seen people we know, like actually real losers, as it were, in COVID, who've like got long COVID and just real health issues as a result, and the insecurity. And I don't think it's done great things for the nation's mental health, has it? So there's lots of challenges there. But yeah, there were certainly, it seems like there were opportunities there for us to grow as well. Brexit, I don't think it's made that much difference for us up in Nottingham. We still certainly have lots of employees, or maybe it was just COVID, Ukraine war replacing it. I think we've got 7 to 9 different Ukrainian refugees at different points. So they're working for us in our different businesses. So yeah, that's been, I don't want to say that's been helpful, but you know what I mean. It's been great to be able to take a step into that and help people at their time of real need. And from a business point of view, we've got some amazing workers as well.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's interesting. I think for us down in London, it's definitely been an interesting ride, and Brexit was a big part of that. But I know statistically, particularly for cleaning, I think overall there's something like 27% migrant workers in the cleaning industry, but in London that's 55%. Wow. So that becomes quite a London-centric challenge when that
huge
gets stopped. I touched on it earlier, but I'm really interested in what poverty does for the choices of people. And I wonder if you have a definition of poverty, and if you do, how do you see it play out in your community?
Yeah, I mean, the church building, right now, the church we're at, we have plenty of people who are coming to church at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday, and they're getting a hot meal. And the reason they're there is clearly they do not have enough food, and they don't have somewhere as a place of safety or a place of warmth. And so a large element of the homeless community. So we definitely are seeing poverty here, where people don't have somewhere that they're able, somewhere safe to live, and they don't have enough money to put food on the table. So I think for us, poverty would look like that, as in, it's not about whether you've got a Sky Sports subscription or not, or whether you get to go on a foreign holiday, but actually, do you have the basics, such as somewhere safe to live? And do you have the ability to put food on the table for yourself and your family? And yeah, that's what we're sort of working with here in terms of, well, how can we help people who are stuck in the benefit system, but also people who are stuck outside the benefit system? And how can we provide opportunities for people to be able to help themselves? Like, it's not here's a handout, but actually here is an opportunity. So I think whether you see it as a poverty there's a material poverty issue, of course there is, but that poverty of aspiration, like people not even seeing that they need a job, but yeah, poverty of identity, and like people like not really sure who they are these days. And and relationship, people really struggling for relationships, people who are increasingly isolated in a post-COVID world. And so I think that there are plenty of people we employ who aren't that much better off financially. They're not, if you looked at the amount of hours they work and the amount of pounds they are better off, it doesn't add up very, very impressively, but they are coming to work for relationship, for community, for identity. And I think that we're that as much as anything else, despite the fact that we're providing jobs, it's almost, that's the vehicle to spend time alongside one another.
I so agree. We've been running two spaces for the last few years in my church. So warm space through winter, and a food cafe once in holiday time only, and numbers are just going up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
And I think similarly, what we found is that people are coming into those spaces for relationship as much as anything else, and connection. And actually, there's a sense of purpose as they've also taken on ownership of those spaces as well. There's all of that wrapped into it. So I love that broader definition of poverty. Is not just material poverty. There's a whole waft of other things that run alongside. Thank you for sharing that. So the living wage is probably the sword on which we all die on if we do. What are your thoughts on the benefits and challenges of paying and earning the living wage, the real living wage, particularly for a cleaning professional? And I'd love it if you could share a story where you've seen impact on one or two lives. I think that'd be really great for the hearers.
We've from day one, we've always said, look, here is just a small way that we can demonstrate to people that they are valued and loved and important. And so rather than paying you, here's the legal minimum because we can, we're going to say, we're going to pay you a bit more. And let's be honest, no one's getting rich cleaning, but we're going to pay you a bit more because you are worth it and because we believe in you and you are valuable. So we've always done that. And we have done in all of our businesses and always will do. So what that means is we are winning customers because of that, probably losing some customers because of that as well, let's be honest. But ultimately, we're probably losing customers we don't really want anyway. And we're winning customers that we do want to work with, where their values are important to them. And so we're saying, look, this is what we're doing. We are working together to help someone out of poverty. That's what we're doing. And it just so happens that the delivery vehicle of that is excellent cleaning, but it's that way around. So therefore, when we write to you next year and tell you the real living wage has gone up by 10% again, and therefore our rates have gone up by 10% again, you don't mind, because it's not me getting rich here. It's actually the cleaner who you value, who provides that service to you. Like, that the cost of living has gone up because, and they haven't got enough money, and therefore the great news is they're going to have more money. It's like, obviously in brackets, you're going to be paying it, but that's how for us, that's really crucial. It isn't an extractive relationship where everything, we can make a bit more money in the middle here, but actually we are connecting up people with companies, and actually, like, this person who's a key part of your team needs to be valued. And so for us, the word minimum isn't going to, I know the government have renamed it, but you know what I'm talking about. The minimum is not where we want to start from. And so for us, I mean, a real win for us was when one of our customers had seen, like, they got it, and then they actually brought in the real living wage for the whole of their team in their organization. So that was driven from the cleaner up. And so that's great, because we can make a tiny little bit of a difference somewhere else. And we had one of our employees who would always say, like, it is the difference between, like, choosing between heating and eating. It is that difference between surviving and thriving. And for her, it was absolutely crucial being able to, having enough money to be able to provide food for others, and therefore invite people around. So now it starts to become, it's a question of, I had enough money to survive, but not to demonstrate hospitality, and therefore was feeling like, obviously, increasingly isolated and not feeling great about herself in terms of self-esteem, but actually having that bit more for doing the same job for the same number of hours, meaning that actually can invite friends around and can cook for them and so on. So I think it's not, it looks different in different cases, and I'm sure you've got some amazing examples of people you employ. But those have been a few of the ways that for us it's important as a company. For our customers, we make it important for them whether they think it is or not, and it's great to see them jump on board. And for our employees, certainly makes that difference to what happens in the rest of their life.
I've never really thought about the impact on hospitality. It's one of my strong values, and I can't imagine not being able to have the resources to have someone to entertain someone well in my space according to my definition.
Yes. And the double hit that you take to that of, like, the fact that you can't have them round means you're missing out on all those that blessing. but then feeling really rubbish about yourself because you can't do it. So
yeah, well, I'm going to put that in my pipe and percolate on that for the rest of the day. Coming into the finishing straight, I've got a couple of questions and then a surprise question from our last guest, Charlie Walker, from Clean for Good. But what's been your greatest challenge to date, do you think, Matt?
I mean, the greatest challenge from my point of view, work-wise, was getting the church to think that what I was saying was a good idea. It took me 10 years to convince them that employing people, going beyond the food parcel, beyond the night shelter, is actually part of what we ought to be doing. So that was 2007 to 2017. The greatest challenge business-wise, like having started, has been to sort of dig myself out of the detail. So there was a time where I knew everything about everything in the cleaning business. And therefore, when we've got a vision for starting multiple businesses, it's like, I didn't have any headspace, no capacity. There was no one else to do it. And so that trying to break through that sort of glass ceiling to actually say, well, if this is what God's called us to do, then that's what we're going to do. But I have no idea how we're going to do it. And so therefore, I think that, and then when we did, then starting the second business and third, I've been really keen to not get anywhere near that level of detail and to start with one foot out already. And so leading through others, I think, is probably where I'm landing with this, of actually like going from backing myself to be able to make something happen to actually finding other people, like trusting them, like getting hold of their ideas, and like a mixture of all different things, but ultimately like recognizing that I could have a bit of impact on my own, but actually if that impact could be through equipping others to equip others to then lead things, then all of a sudden things multiply up quite quickly. And so that's really exciting, but it definitely is a challenge as well. As a natural activist, I'd want to just do it and get on with it.
Sorry. Yeah,
but having other people to lead through has been a challenge, but it's a real joy as well when you find the right people.
Brilliant. Gnarly problem for so many leaders. Yeah, I love that. What do you love about what you do? Do you love anything about what you do?
I do. And the answer can't be at the level of biscuit cleaning or marquee, because that isn't what I love. But I do love seeing people whose lives are genuinely transformed. So people who do not have hope and do not have purpose, who are at their lowest ebb, and being the privilege of being able to give them an opportunity to see that flicker of light in their eyes, to see them a month or 2 or 3 later or years later actually working. And recent example would be of someone who needed a job, would have taken any job, but we've got her working at our bakery, and it was absolutely amazing to see the change in her. But I mean, I knew her shift finished at 1 o'clock and she was still around at 1:05. I was like, oh, what are you doing? And actually she was waiting for one of her other colleagues who was just finishing something, and they are from completely different backgrounds, completely different parts of the city, but they'd made friends at work, and then we're going to go off into town together to go shopping. And like, this is so, like, work has facilitated that to happen. That's how they met, is how it came about. But the kind of things that are very much like, obviously not set by me or controlled or anything, but seeing things naturally evolve and relationships develop, that was really exciting.
Oh, it's just beautiful. I love that. So final question, Matt. You've been a wonderful guest. You're the kind of person that we could sit and talk to and listen to for hours. I know that we've not even skimmed the surface of what's happened for you guys, you and your businesses and your colleagues. But that's the time we've got. So the final question, which is from Charlie Walker from Clean for Good, last month's guest, is, can you describe your perfect Saturday?
Well, with children or without at the moment, isn't it? But it definitely needs to involve a lot of football. So probably the perfect Saturday would involve watching my son win in his football match in the morning, and then would involve spending time with my daughters somewhere in the middle, often taking them to different clubs and things. But then, watching Nottingham Forest, who are having a brilliant season, watching them win in the afternoon, maybe able to watch it on Match of the Day. And then amongst that, obviously not forgetting Sam. Maybe we get to go out for dinner with her. But if we can hit football with a couple of wins, and the whole family and getting to go out with Sam, then that would be pretty close.
That sounds absolutely delightful. Matt, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing some of your insights, experience, and wisdom. It's been a really rich conversation, and definitely I wish we could have spoken for longer. But the joyful thing is we do get to see each other face to face in 5 weeks' time at the Face and Business Conference. So
look forward to seeing you in person.
Brill. Thanks, Matt. Take care. God bless.
Thanks for having me on. Bye.
Bye.